Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time, a Wave original. This is a YouTube exclusive. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars, only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater, even though YouTube doesn't have stars. Anyway, big gambling story, news of which has dropped today. Chauncey Billups arrested, Damon Jones arrested, Terry Rozier arrested, kind of sort of for different things. Terry Rozier giving inside information to the homies, and then, my foot hurt, and then not playing, people banging the under. Allegedly, Damon Jones, who seems to be tied up in 2 different things, Damon Jones is tied up in perhaps giving inside information to gamblers because he has some gambling issues himself, while also being what they call a face card. And a face card is a guy who participates in a rigged poker game, but he is used as an attraction to get people to play in the game. The face card are those people, and then it's the fish that are the victims. And Ryan, we were reading about it also. We learned a lot. It's quarterbacks.
Yes, we've learned a lot about their terms, the people involved. This has been an evolving. This is what we've been doing all morning.
Yes. This is what we've got. And then Chauncey Billups, where Damon Jones is involved in both stories, got arrested, but he is only involved in the poker fixing. And so what the allegation is, this game is rigged. And when we talk about learning, I ain't know this was possible. So the games are being played, and there's X-ray machines that are reading the cards. And Ryan, the shuffle machine, like they got the shufflers, and somehow the shufflers are in on the scale.
Yeah, the shufflers are rigged. They can tell what cards are coming up.
Right.
And again, yeah, it's just a very rigged operation. Like they knew what they were doing, and they had this very well planned.
Right. And you ask yourself, like, what kinds of people have X-ray machines and bogus shufflers? And the answer is, the mafia. Capital T, capital M, the mafia. The words Cosa Nostra are being used in reports. Chauncey Billups allegedly was the face of rigged poker games that were run by the 5 families. I know this sounds like fiction, but the actual 5 families. And I want to take a moment to send a shout out to organized crime. Because everywhere else in America, we have a problem where what used to be the big 6 or whatever turns into the big 3, because all of these businesses merging and just engaging in a world where antitrust doesn't even matter anymore. But no. They still got some sense of foul play over there. It was the 5 families when I was a kid. It is the 5 families now. Y'all staying on y'all square. I respect that. Anyway, let us stop and take a moment to appreciate what I just said, because I think that this is the part that is very important. The 5 families had an NBA head coach in their pocket. Now, I am going to presume that Chauncey Billups is in their pocket. And the reason I'm going to presume that Chauncey Billups is in their pocket, well, it's actually 2 reasons. Reason number 1 is that I feel like once you start engaging in actual factual mafia business with the mafia, they kind of got you. You know what I mean? Y'all are kind of sucking this together. But number 2 is, I could only assume that the only way that Chauncey Billups wound up doing this with these people is because he had to. I've met Chauncey Billups before. Chauncey Billups, and everybody, and by the way, he's a guy that everybody I know just about has very, very nice things to say about. Like, people talk about him around the NBA as being a real stand-up dude. I can only assume that he's not a complete and total moron. And so since I assume that he is not a complete and total moron, I'm assuming that he didn't just get into this to get some side money. But I would really like
He signed a contract extension this April.
He just did. And it's so funny. I was like, he can go ahead. They're going to pack up his office. He ain't got to do it for him. They're going to throw his family pictures in the same hefty bag with that suit that he keep in the closet just in case, right? And somebody hit me on Twitter and was like, he just signed an extension. He'll be fine in that regard. I was like, are you high?
Yeah, he's being investigated with all 5 of the families. His job is the least of his worries.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure there's something in the contract that says that if they say you hanging out with the 5 families, we ain't gotta pay you no money. Okay, like I feel like that's pretty much on the board that's going to be there. But how did he get here? Because let me tell you, Ryan, that's going to be a shame-filled mugshot. Like, by the time people hear this, it is possible they would have already seen it. He's supposed to be in court on Thursday afternoon. That's going to be a guy looking like, oh, how did I get here? And I want to know. I have no idea how we got here. Like Terry Rozier, look, man, I don't know that dude. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, okay? If I need to apologize, I apologize. But I'm not terribly surprised that he would do something terribly stupid.
And also was running a much less elaborate scheme.
Yes. He was running the kind of scheme.
Allegedly running a less elaborate scheme.
The kind of scheme that like guys get caught for. Number two, the kind of scheme that you would imagine Terry Rozier engaging in. But I watched Terry Rozier play basketball. Very similar to the way that J-Mo Williams, the dude that got caught placing bets at the facility, is not the one that Big Brain Ben should have asked to throw a double reverse pass in that game. Like, I make assumptions about one thing based on the other, right? Terry Rozier's shot selection tells me that, yeah, he might do something like this. Chauncey Billups, I did not see. But the Damon Jones story, that one becomes interesting. And where it's going to be something is the next level of the story with him is going to be who knew. Now, I think that that's going to be a level of the story also with Chauncey Billups. But Damon Jones is one of these dudes that's just kind of around the NBA. Like, you don't necessarily know what job he has. Like, oh, he works for ESPN now. Oh, he works for the Cavaliers now. Oh, he's just like, doesn't work for the Lakers, but he's just kind of around. Like, he's a guy that just winds up in places. But the extent of what he was in, because Ryan, he's in both of these.
Yes, he is one of the, there's the Rozier, essentially point shaving case.
Yes.
And then there is the Billups rigged poker games, and Jones is involved in both.
He's in all kinds of trouble. But for our episode that comes out on Friday, we talked to Pat Forty, who let us know that he's been reporting on the stuff around this for 18 months, and that there's some parts that he didn't say anything in particular, obviously, but there are elements of this. He covers college sports. There are elements that go over there. This is what I've been talking about this whole time. I have been saying for the longest, and I'm not bragging about this. I'm just saying this for people who might be showing up here for the first time. I've been saying for months that a gigantic scandal was coming down the pipe, that we did not necessarily know what the scandal would be. Now, with Rozier, I can tell you, I heard that something was cooking with him even before the whispers started, being around him. People have been talking about folks involved in this, all three of these, right? I talked to somebody right before I got through doing this podcast who had been investigating Damon Jones before this. There is a poker podcast that in 2023 made an allegation of Chauncey Billups being associated with a rigged poker game. And then Terry Rozier, like I say, I had heard about that one. This has been swirling around about all of these guys. Now, do you think that all of this was about three people? Maybe it was. I don't actually have the answer for you. I find it unlikely that all of this is about three people. Buckle up. It is here. It is coming. And all of us who work in this industry are going to have to reckon with the fact that in one form or another, unless you are doing what you do on an independent subscription basis, if you work in sports, some of your money is coming from gambling. Now, I want to be very clear that we cannot blame what these accusations are on like FanDuel, DraftKings, or whatever it is. What is being alleged in this are things that even if you don't have any sort of moral problem with the prevalence of gambling in our business, these things would still be wrong. Like Chauncey Billups apparently is being used to walk people into a game where they're going to get stole from. And I can't even lie. I thought at first that the story was that Chauncey Billups was getting used to get suckers into these poker games and that Damon Jones was actually one of the suckers, which would have actually been a much more fascinating angle to this.
Yeah, there's a really simple way of describing the rigged poker games. It's called stealing.
Yes.
it's luring people to your house to steal from
right. It is fraud. It can be fraud even if it's illegal on its face, right?
Right.
Like that is what we have on this. That would be wrong. Chauncey Billups participating in those games, that would be wrong. People were shaving points before there was legal gambling, right? All of that happens to be there. But part of how we got here was the Jonte Porter situation. And that was a guy who clearly got addicted to gambling, and then it goes from there. The paperwork and the press conference with Damon Jones is implying that he is somebody who was addicted to gambling. I still got to know how Chauncey Billups got caught up in this. I really don't know. Maybe he got caught up in gambling in some way. I have no idea. But this all happens right around the same time that the NCAA says that it will allow its players to gamble on professional sports. What are you morons doing? Of all these things that you have done to shut these players down, like it speaks most to the morality or the immorality specifically of what they were doing to stop those players from getting paid, because you clearly have no intention of giving them any measure of protection whatsoever. If you are now saying you can go ahead and do this. Nah, man, we're all in the business of selling this form of cocaine. We know it, and we don't need to lie about it. And some of y'all are like, hey, look, maybe you're the one that can do a little bit of cocaine, right? But some people, they can't. They wind up in the web, and it winds up being partially stories like the ones that we are talking about right now. This is where we are in this. Every commissioner of every league, they booty got to be like, just tight as a drum. They got to feel all the way locked up, because this is the world that we're in, and this isn't the last time this is going to happen, right? Some other names are going to wind up coming up. I don't know how. I also want to ask this question, Ryan, because Gilbert Arenas' name got tied up also in the poker game. And, of course, the allegations against him are as hilarious as one might expect if I told you that Gilbert Arenas got indicted for something.
Yes. And talk about someone who you would, weren't surprised by the report.
He has a different risk calculus than the rest of us. I like Gilbert, but Gilbert takes chances.
Great guy.
He takes chances that I myself personally would not be inclined to take. But is the FBI now, are they going through their poker craze? Like, you remember 20 years ago when it was the poker craze in the World Series of Poker? Is it now the FBI's time to just get to the bottom of all the poker?
I guess, I didn't there's also different forms of illegal poker games. There's one where it's the house is taking a cut, and then there's when you're being lured into the house to get stolen from. And then there's, also these games where other illegal things are going on.
Yes.
And so apparently they have decided this is a serious target of investigation for them.
Yeah. I would just say this right here, right now to Damon Jones. I don't know if you're listening. Maybe you are. No, LeBron is not going to take any more of your calls. You just need to know this right now. Because let me tell you something about that LeBron James. If there is one word that describes him or defines him, it is very clear to me. Scandal proof. That is the most amazing part of it. Look, Michael Jordan always get a little bit sketchy in the stuff he gets into. We ain't really got that on LeBron James. That man is scandal proof. If you were to ask me to say, hey, you think LeBron knew anything about what Damon Jones was doing? No. If he did, let me tell you what he wouldn't be doing no more. Hanging out with Damon Jones. Yeah. I was about to say I would bet money on that, except that feels like something that would be inappropriate in this context.